I was never professionally taught how to draw. It was something that I always loved to do, though. I love to create and bring stuff from my mind into reality. And I think I was drawing before I was singing. And I used to write stories, like short stories. Like I remember I had one where it was kids going to school, and I like to draw their outfits and their hair. I wish I still had those little books, but I knew very early on that I loved to take these ideas and these stories that I had in my head and these visions and these characters and put them onto paper. I never really knew that there was a place you could go to learn how to be better at it. It was just something that I did. I don't know if somebody just gave me a pen and paper and was just like, here. And I just start creating. But nobody in my family ever said, oh, wow, we should put her in art school. So I kind of started to sing, and that's where people seem to notice, oh, she has talent. And they wanted to hear me sing. And anytime my mom's friends came over to the house or my dad got calls on the phone, they'd be like, you want to listen to my daughter sing? And I would sing. So I knew that people felt good about me as a singer. I did not know if I could draw. I didn't know that I had skills. And it wasn't until kind of later in life that I got back into drawing. I spent 20 years traveling the world as a singer and a DJ and performer, and kind of put my art on the back burner. But I remember it was during the pandemic when I came back to Philly, broke, nothing in hand but my creativity and my experiences from abroad, that I was working a security job. And I remember sitting at the desk thinking to myself that I wanted to draw. I was just like, I don't know why I want to make an art collection out of nowhere. Years and years and years later, decades later, I'm like, I want to draw. And the very first thing I did was I went to Michael's Arts and Crafts store. I got myself a canvas, and the very first drawing that I made in all of this time, in all of these years, was this painting behind me, and it's called Boss Bitch. And from then on, I kind of made another painting every month until I had a total of 14 paintings, which turned into my very first art collection, Living on Purpose. Okay, so that is how I got back into drawing. But I just wanted to give you guys a clear idea that I was drawing before I was singing. It's just that nobody seemed to notice, and nobody took the time to say, well, let's put her in art school and see where she can go with this. It was just, I knew that people liked me singing. And when I got older and I realized that you could go to school for singing, and because people thought I could sing, I actually went to creative and performing arts. And that's where I kind of developed more so my skill of singing. But even to this day, I'm not going to art class or taking any art classes. I like to look at something and see if I can recreate it. I'll look at a face and see how good I am. Now, I am by no means exceptionally naturally gifted at, realism, but I think I'm pretty damn good at drawing some amazing things and being creative and taking ideas and just kind of like putting them on a canvas and turn them into my own. So that is how I got back into drawing. Now, CHECKMATES. CHECKMATES is my very first comic strip. I was working as a cashier, another job that I was doing during the pandemic, because again, a girl did not have a penny saved, and I was determined to be able to pay my own way. That was my thing. It's like, okay, listen, I don't want to beg my family all the time for help because I fucked up somewhere. So it's like, all right, well, what can you do? So I was doing security. I was working as a cashier, and I was trying to find ways to make sure I had money coming in. But all the while, I'm still me. I'm still the creative who captures experiences, who writes books, who creates worlds of her own. And so as I'm being a cashier, I'm paying attention to this world that I wasn't in for so long. The regular everyday life that people live. Being a traveling musician, I deal with people when they get off their job, when they want to come and enjoy and unwind and drink and party and not think about their 9 to 5. So for a lot of my adult life, I spent time just kind of living in the fantasy part of people's lives. And even though it was work for me, I don't drink or smoke, so I wouldn't say I was partying, but I was in that atmosphere, as a DJ, as a musician, just performing, not really the day-to-day grind where people don't really want to be there, but they're there. And then they come and release and have fun with you. But I was back in the thick of it, where I had to stand behind a register and smile and be nice and just kind of like do it every day. And just, oh my God, immediately I was like, but while I was there briefly for about a year, I was a cashier. I learned a lot. I saw a lot. And, I still went shopping myself when I wasn't on stage. But when you're actually on the opposite side and you learn how it is to stock shelves and how it is to do inventory and how it is to have to smile and deal with people and kind of like just, once you can't wait till you clock out so that you can actually enjoy doing what you love to do. I was in the thick of it. And I saw things and I learned things and I stored things. And so that is how my comic strip Checkmates came about. And it's, what makes it unique is that it is based in Sherman Oaks. It's based in Los Angeles, California. And it is kind of a bunch of not so nice cashiers and checkers and customer service clerks that kind of found each other. So Checkmates is centered around a store. It's called Ender's Alley. Ender's Alley it's the pride and joy of Edward Enders, who is a very God-fearing, loving person with creative dreams of his own. And Edward he is modeled after my late godfather, Lee Edward Enders, who I love dearly and miss so much because he was just like one of a kind, So he's not exactly like him, but a lot of his mannerisms and characteristics you're going to be able to see in Edward, who is the store manager. He sees the best in people. He wants for people to change their life and turn their life around. And so he always tries to preach and always tries to see the good and doesn't always look at the red flags of the people who he's hiring or doesn't want to fire. But this store is just a bunch of, they're just not meant to be in customer service. And yet here they are because nothing they do seems to get them fired. That is the basis of Checkmates, okay? A bunch of horrible, not so nice, not so friendly cashiers, clerks, and customer service people who deal with the public on a regular basis, all right?